Hey guys, my name is Tony and welcome to my YouTube channel. Here I'll be discussing my trips around the world on flights, hotels, and everything in between. Today I'll be showing you guys my trip on the Virgin Atlantic's upper class from JFK to Manchester on the A330. So let's get right into it. Finally, the New York City MTA have given us the ability to buy air train tickets with Apple Pay. Previously, you had to wait in line for literal hours in order to buy a physical Metro card like it's the 1980s. As you can see, it still costs $11 in order to get onto the air train, but at least you won't be missing your flight because the Metro card machine is out of service on the one day you decide to fly out of JFK. I rarely go to the check-in counter when flying domestic, but international travel usually requires additional documentation, so I always have to go to the counter when flying abroad. As you can see, when flying upper class, you are sky priority. Not that I know what that actually means, but the lines were empty on this side, so that was pretty good. I had actually initially booked a seat in economy, and then rebooked onto upper class after talking to my fiance and showing her my plans. She said I should try upper class, and since I had the points to do so, I figured why not. The crazy thing that happened was I checked in the day before on the app and had shown me the economy class reservation before the upper class reservation. So I ended up with 2 reservations when I came to check in at the gate. Because of that, there was so much brouhaha, and you know what? I'm just gonna let you guys see what happened. No, I think that's the wrong. I canceled that ticket and I got a different one.
Wait, you're on 138. 128. 128.
7A.
You upgraded? Okay, so then you have to go to get it because I only see you at the...
Oh, you only see this one?
Yeah.
As usual, JFK was pretty busy, and I actually forgot to get my TSA number printed on my boarding pass, so I had to go back to the counter in order to get that printed. Once I got to security, I was led through the clear line because I have TSA and clear. Usually, I would not necessarily recommend clear, as sometimes it can actually be slower. Luckily for me, this time they were actually fast and efficient, so that was a real pro. Welcome to the Virgin Atlantic Clubhouse. This clubhouse was actually really cool. Like, you could actually see the amount of attention to detail that Virgin put into their clubhouse, and it wasn't really full. I think that was because they don't allow priority pass members to enter the club past 1 p.m. And so most flights are like not at 1 p.m. Mine was at 5 p.m. and so that was pretty cool. And just look at the intentionality that Virgin put into this clubhouse. Compared to other airlines, I'm looking at you, Air Canada. This was really good. I'm going to just let you guys enjoy this. At the Virgin Atlantic Clubhouse, they had these QR codes at like every little cafe type table that you could scan and order food directly to wherever you're sitting, which was pretty cool. They had servers constantly going around, giving out food, picking up food. It was really cool. And this menu, guys, it was insane. Like, there were literally so many options. I know it's a bit blurry. I was trying to get my camera to focus, but you guys know how it goes. But like, I was kind of feeling like I shouldn't get too much food because I was like, okay, I'm about to go on a flight. I still want to eat the food on the plane. You know what I'm saying? But actually looking back, I think I should have gotten even more ham than I did because there were way more interesting options in the clubhouse compared to what I got on the flight, which I'm going to get into a bit later. As you see here, I got the lettuce wrapped duck. I got some chicken wings and I got sea bass on peas. Now, the sea bass, it was pretty good, a bit zesty if you like that kind of taste. The wings were also decent, but the duck in lettuce wasn't really my vibe. So that's just kind of my review on things, but of course it depends on your own personal tastes. Let's get into a quick toilet tour. Now, as I've been saying so much in this video, Virgin puts so much intentionality into their clubhouse. Like, look at the art and the vibe, the decor, the lighting. Like that was literally the walkway to where the bathrooms were. As you see here anyway, as we're in one now, the shower, it was out of use, but that's fine. I didn't need to shower. It was just coming from work. I don't need to give a commentary on this. It's like literally what you see, the sink, the toilet. My fiance really like tells me that Ren products are like the bomb. So Obviously, they had to have the rent in there. But yeah, it was a pretty clean, solid toilet. So it actually took me like 10 minutes to board because there was kind of a mix-up with my economy class ticket, with my Virgin upper class ticket. Yeah, like I blame the app. Like, come on, they didn't tell me I was checking into the wrong flight initially, but here we are. Go through finally. I was like the last person in upper class to board, so it is what it is. I had to take my pics a bit after. I will say one con I found is that they didn't have very much like overhead bin space. I had to kind of fight with my neighbor to kind of find some space, but it is what it is. So for the welcome drink, there were two options. I can't remember the first option, but I went for the ginger mocktail. It was not good. So I can't recommend anyone do that. But luckily, they gave us canned sparkling water by the side when we entered. It was just like right here on this table when we came onto our seats. So I just used that to wash my tongue off. To cap off the pre-flight service, they gave us warm towels. Now, I've been having this debate with my fiance. What is the purpose of a warm towel? I need you guys to put this in the comment. Is it for your face or for your hands? For the face, I will say it was really underrated and I definitely felt refreshed after using it. On Virgin's A330-300, the seats are configured in a one-on-one configuration with the seats facing outward away from the window, which was a bit awkward. There are two bathrooms in the front of the plane and at the back near the exits where you enter from when entering into the business class area. Let's get into the seat tour. As I mentioned previously, the seats face away from the windows, so that is a pretty big con as it's basically impossible to look outside the plane unless you crane your neck backwards. There's not much space around the seat itself. Under the footrest, there is a bit of space to store a bag or a coat, and there's a bit of space behind the seat, but it wasn't much for me to store any of the items I had. Privacy-wise, I would recommend the seats ahead of 7A. As you can see, the divider is higher on those seats compared to the ones from 7A and below. There is a medium-sized TV and seat controls for moving the seats into a rested position and also into an upright position. In order to get the seats into a full lie flat position, you actually have to get up and leave, which is a bit inconvenient. I will show you later in the video how that was done. And as you can see here, there are also controls for the table, which again was a bit clunky to get out, but I was able to figure it out eventually. Virgin actually have a pretty fun pre-flight safety video, so I'm going to show you guys a little bit of it.
Explain the safety equipment and procedures for this particular aircraft and gives you an idea of what to do in an emergency. If you have any questions after watching it, ask them to check the next week. The aisles and exits need to be kept clear. So, if there is anything you haven't put in the overhead lockers, put them under the seat in front of you, now.
Virgin had a pretty extensive in-flight entertainment system. There were tons of new movies, popular movies, and older movies. I watched The Color Purple and No Country for Old Men. The Color Purple was a good movie, No Country for Old Men is a classic. Those are my two recommendations if you decide to take a Virgin flight anytime in the near future. So let's get into the Amenity Kit. It comes with an Amenity Kit made from recycled paper. It's not that fancy, but I guess it's good for the environment, so I guess we'll take that. Contained inside the Amenity Kit was a pair of socks, which I never wear, an eye mask, which is of course essential for taking a good nap on the plane, toothpaste, a bamboo toothbrush, Ren lip balm, hand cream, and sunscreen, which I don't know why you would need sunscreen on a plane, but I gave all of that to my fiance, a pen for which I presumed was to write down your food requests, as on the menu there was a section for that, some earplugs. It was all in all pretty standard stuff. The tray table was pretty big, like one of the biggest I've ever seen on the plane. Could get your whole tray there, tons of food. You guys are going to see a bit later in the video how I was able to place everything I ate on it, but very spacious. I will say though, getting it out, getting it in is not intuitive. As you can see here, this is just me struggling to put the table back in. But once you figure out how to do it, it's pretty easy. I was pressing the wrong buttons and everything, so it was a bit dumb, but it's pretty easy to do when you get in. It was just not intuitive, is my point. The first meal was a choice of crisps, as they say in the UK, and tea, or chips, as they say in the United States. I think we were also offered nuts if you wanted, but I'm always going to go for the crisps. As you see here, this is where they stored our pajamas, and this is where they stored the blankets that we're going to use to sleep on the chairs. So let's get into the bathroom tour. As you can see, a big mirror, standard sink, dustbin, more Ren products. I see Virgin is really into their Ren products. My fiance, once again, would have been happy to be on this flight. Big, large vanity mirror, some facial tissues if you need them, bright lights. Was pretty clean. Didn't feel disgusted or anything like that. As you can see here, lots of places to store your clothes, hang your coats. Big handlebar in case the turbulence gets a bit crazy. Again, not too big, just very pretty standard type of toilet. Not much to write home about in this respect. So as I had mentioned earlier in the video, in order to turn your seat into completely lie flat, you actually need to get up and leave the seat. Luckily, the Virgin Atlantic crew help with this, so when I went to change into my pajamas, the air hostess came in and she helped me turn the chair, which you're seeing in this video. It's pretty slow. I guess maybe these were the first ever versions of lie flat that were ever created, which is why the whole seat has to flip over and it's like a whole process. But that's basically how it goes at Virgin Atlantic, the A330 at least. I'm pretty sure the newer planes don't have this whole archaic long ass process. Let's get into the food service. As you can see, a pretty large table. I opted for the falafel with some warm bread. The falafel was pretty good. I'm not usually a falafel person, but I really enjoyed this. Warm bread and butter, pretty good. I went for some brown bread for that. Of course, you see the cute salt and pepper shakers, classic Virgin Atlantic, sparkling water. All in all, this was a very good first meal. So getting into our mains, I got chicken breast wrapped in bacon, some potato and cheese on the side with asparagus. I actually ordered the lamb, but they had run out, I guess because I was at the back, so I didn't really get what I wanted. I ended up getting 2 desserts. Initially, I got this cherry cakeish thing. I don't know what it is actually called. And I also got a chocolate round with a strawberry on the side, which was pretty good, I would say. It wasn't too sweet, so I actually liked that. I've also shared some images of the menu here, so if you guys are really interested in seeing what exactly was on offer on this flight, you can just pause the video and look through. Virgin Atlantic have this very unique lounge right behind near the entrance of business class. I didn't want to go when there were people there due to my social anxiety, so I found a time when there was literally no one there and I could video in peace. They leave fruits, snacks, drinks out for anyone to just come and pick when they want. So, I got some orange juice, got some snacks when I came through. Pretty good. It wasn't like there were tons of people coming through here. I saw a couple when I was first checked, but and there was no like bartender at the time, so it seemed like they would come in, put some drinks up, and then go back. But all in all, this is pretty cool. If you just want to come sit down, have a chat, meet some new people, maybe. Then this is a good place to do it. I think I saw that the other newer planes have like a much larger space, a bit of a much cooler lounge. So if you get a chance to fly that would also be pretty cool. The last meal service was breakfast shortly before we land. It was an hour. They woke me up for this. I got the pancakes, pretty good. Some cream on top, a fruit plate by the side, syrup, and teas, as I don't like coffee personally, and it's England, so you gotta get the tea. flight landed in the morning. Got down. We needed to take a bus in order to get to the actual airport. It's not my first time doing that, so I was pretty used to just getting off and walking to a bus. It was a bit rainy when we landed in, a bit chilly, so had to get my coat up. But all good. It's Manchester, so what do you expect in the northwest of England? At the time, I was really excited to go see the soccer game I was going to watch. Spoiler alert, we ended up losing, so my poor self didn't realize at the time that this was not going to be the trip I expected. So let's get into the juicy bit. How did I book this flight? I paid $72,500 flying blue points and $205 for this flight. In cash, this flight would have cost a whopping $3,600, and I got it for $205 and 72,000 points. I actually used a 25% bonus through Chase to pay only 58,000 ultimate reward points in order to get 72,500 Flying Blue points. Flying Blue is a program with Air France and KLM, and I used that in order to buy this Virgin Atlantic flight. So if you watched to the end of the video, I'd just like to thank you so much for watching my first video on this channel. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys are looking forward to more of what I have to come, my travels. I just have so much to share with you guys, and there's much more coming. So I'm going to be building out a lot more stuff for websites. I have a lot of plans in my head, so you guys should just wait on that. But till next time, like and subscribe.